What does it take to scale when your entire business is about building others? Today, Arani Satgunaseelan shares the story behind Vollardian, the management consultant firm that she co-founded. From working in investment banking at Macquarie to e-commerce at eBay, Arani opens up about escaping the corporate hamster wheel, starting her own business, and figuring out growth without burning out. Welcome to the Anti-Work Podcast, a podcast where we chat to founders and professionals about staying sane while building a business. It's brought to you by Recess, a sustainable Aussie office furniture brand that's all about making work feel more like play. I'm Alessandra, and I'm your host. Well, thank you so much, Arani, for being on the podcast.
You're very welcome.
I'm so excited to chat to you about your career and everything in between. To kind of kick things off, because Recess is all about making work feel like play.
Yeah.
We just have some fun questions just to kind of break the ice, get ready, get prepared for the podcast experience.
The hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, so we're just going to some easy ones to start with. But what was your favorite recess snack at school?
This was very easy. It's pizza shapes.
Nice.
To the point that I still buy pizza shapes for the office and eat all of them and leave the barbecue and crispy chicken for everyone else.
The chicken ones were my favorite.
Yeah, but they've changed the recipe as well, which is devastating to me because the old pizza shapes used to have like the little crunchy cheese bits, which I'm not.
Yeah.
Anyway, very showing my age there, but pizza shapes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Forever.
Nice. And are you a morning or night person? What are your peak fun hours and your peak work hours?
I would say my peak hours are from 3 p.m. onwards. I think I am a night person. I used to be a morning person, and now I find that whole concept really tiresome. And so, we'll very much have switched to it. To night owl.
I feel the same. It's so hard to be a morning person.
I know
trying.
There's a lot of like pressure to be a morning person as well. Like, you know, I don't know, even the sun is against like daylight savings, like, more hours. But no, it's not much. No.
I feel you. And lastly, are you a minimalist desk person or a maximalist?
So this is super interesting because I'll tell you a bit of a story. Used to be maximalist, as in just surround myself with papers. But then I worked for like a mining services company and they were big on safety, and a big part of that was everything being put back where it was.
Right.
And one of them was clean desk, and to the point that you had to have a photo of your clean desk on your desk.
Oh.
And it would be like, this is what my desk will look like at the end of the day. So really, but then that really like hammered into me just having a clean desk. So now I literally have, I mean, I think the team would be like, no, that's a lie. You have so many random fidget toys on your desk now. But I'm a minimalist person now.
Well, let's jump into a bit more of the basics about your business, career, and kind of how you ended up where you are. So for those who might not be familiar, could you tell us about Vollardian?
Yeah, absolutely. So Vollardian is a sales operations consulting firm. So we just think we're the best at building out sales operations, which sounds really boring, but we absolutely love it.
Nice. And so you describe Vollardian as an alternative management consulting firm.
That's right.
Can you explain what's different about Vollardian?
The consulting industry generally, I mean, I hate that we get lumped in as management consultants, to be honest. So it's kind of, you wake up one day and you just go, yep, I'm a management consultant, and I'll just change my LinkedIn and that's it. And the bigger consulting firms are just kind of really portraying that, hey, we're just going to swan in and get the partner is going to win the work, and then we're just going to send a whole bunch of juniors who are wonderful but are work to the bone as well. Like there's a lot of bad advice, a lot of bad treatment of employees. It's just not a good culture.
Yeah.
And so when we started the firm, we just, Bo, my co-founder, and I were just like, we want somewhere where we want to work first and foremost. And a lot of that is stripping back what the typical work or corporate culture is. So for us, alternative means very much focus on performance and results and metrics, and then you go home and you know don't work late hours at all. You're really proud of the work that you do. It's super impactful, that sort of stuff. So we're really trying to shift the consulting narrative, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe one day there'll be a new word for it.
Yeah. So touch on this probably a bit more in depth a little bit later, but just to kind of give a bit more of a foundation, what was sort of the moment that inspired you to start Vollardian, or how did you decide that you wanted to start your own business?
Story to actually starting it was, I wouldn't say there was some amazing idea. It was more just being really sick of working where I was. And the amazing thing is, I think when you leap from full-time employment in a corporate stable job to unemployed, you just move into this next level of hustle. I was catching up with as many people as I could, trying whatever I could to think of what my career actually could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then met Bo. I messaged Bo on LinkedIn. He didn't reply because turns out he had also left around the same time as me under similar reasons really. And he was off busy gaming, so missed the message apparently. And then, and then I just pinged him again. Like you just lose that ego, and you're just like, well, stuff it. I really do want to have a coffee with you. Yeah, and so that very first coffee we had was in Sydney in Bond Cafe. We just sat there and we just talked about what working in a good place would look like, about family, about just prioritising your own health, and, you know, if you need to rush out for a doctor's appointment, you shouldn't be rushing. Things like just all these little things that were really formed, I guess, the baseline values of Vollardian. Yeah, so it was kind of, I'd say it like evolved literally over the course of a few months before we went, actually, you know what, I think we actually, like, we've got a good vibe going, and I think we should do this and take it to market.
Yeah.
But,
That's so cool. So I guess going from, so you mentioned working full time and then quitting or leaving. I don't know. Quitting is such a heavy word. I'm like,
quitting is good.
So you do have like quite an impressive career history. Obviously, you've studied law and then went into investment banking and investor relations, and then you're working at eBay. What kind of, like, where was your headspace at the time of, you said that you didn't enjoy working in corporate, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
What kind of led you to make that big life change to leave and then take some time off? Because I can imagine that when you left, you didn't necessarily have like a specific, like, this is what I'm going to do, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would say, and I feel like a lot of people do relate to this, but I felt like I was just constantly chasing, oh, you've got to get higher marks, or you've got to get into this degree, and oh, now you have to get into this internship, or now you have to get into this grad job. Then I started the grad job at in investment banking, and then it was, to be honest, I had no idea what I was doing in investment banking. I don't really care much about finance, but I had this like, oh, I have to be the best, and it was just like a hamster wheel, just kind of, and it just continued. So I did the investment banking, was really long hours. The investment banking kind of hours thing, it really is just, they start work at 3 p.m. rather than like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. like normal people, to be really honest. Like anyway, inefficient work was probably the crux of the investment banking experience. Then I went to investor relations, which was a nice like reprieve. I had a really good mentor there who was like, actually, you know, rather than staying in this corporate ivory tower, which is like the investor relations roles, the strategy roles, that sort of thing, looks like you like operations more. And so that was the first time I was like, oh, actually, I really do like being on the coal face. And so then I moved to eBay, totally randomly, like took a role called sales operations analyst, had no experience in sales, no experience in sales operations, but had a core set of skills that I could apply. And then I guess the key driver there is you're still chasing promotion or doing a good job for your boss. And I still remember, I think there was a specific moment where I was meant to be, I was up for this promotion, and my director and manager kind of pulled me in, and they'd written out all this feedback. And the feedback was really, really harsh. Like at one point said, you're a negative influence on the team. One point said, in a model, you had hard-coded, in an Excel model, you had hard-coded a number, which is like for any ex-investment banker is like a stab in the heart, because it's like basically saying you're totally incompetent at Excel, which I by that point I've definitely spent more than 10,000 hours in Excel.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just full of this, because they were obviously making a case to not promote me, and it was this realization of like, what is this for? Like, I work really hard, I sacrifice, and I'm moving from level 25 to level 26. So at that point I was like, this whole system is stuffed. And you talk to a lot of friends, and it is pretty similar at a larger corporate. So then I probably went through, I think the term is now quiet quitting, but I spent the next few months just really resetting myself. So actually realised that this was too much for me to bear. Like, I think you put so much effort into work, you put so many hours of your life into work. It was just too much that my identity was reading that you're a negative person. It was just too much. So I assembled what I call my village, which is my psychologist, my GP, my PT, and I started just building those healthy habits while still employed gainfully, saving furiously. And then I honestly can't even remember the day I walked in and quit. It's now such a blur. I just was ready in that mindset that I just handed it in, and there was some kerfuffle about, no, they didn't want the positioning to be that I'd quit, and it was a leave of absence, whatever. By that stage I was out. Yeah, so I was very anticlimactic in the end, because I kind of had suddenly this support system around me, and I knew that at the very least I was going to spend a few months just doing that. And I think I should emphasize that the financial part of it was difficult, but I was very lucky enough to have a partner who I could rely on, and that might not be the same for everybody, but if you can do it, those breaks in your career are just game changers, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
sorry.
awesome.
That was a very long-winded
No,
answer.
I love that. It's so interesting, because I think a lot of people like experience burnout, or they're unhappy with their career, but you kind of just keep going because for a lot of people, like, that's kind of all or maybe you just think like, this is just life, or you just have to work.
That's right.
So it's interesting to hear that, because there is, well, I guess if you're stuck in that at the time, it's hard to sort of see outside of it, and like hard to know like what's on the other side. So
exactly. And I think like moving jobs, or even moving into I moved into unemployment, but it takes so much effort. Like interviewing at other places whilst you're employed is really hard. But my advice to anybody who ever comes to me being like, oh, I'm really stuck at work and this and that, it's like, work is such a big part of your life. You need to love it. You need to have a passion for it. And if you don't, you do have avenues to explore other opportunities. So that means build your network and have as many coffees as possible. People really want to help.
Yeah.
Especially people who are happy in their jobs. They really want to help you find what they have. So, but it is incredibly hard. Many, many friends who kind of are in that position and it's across industry, it's healthcare, business, everything.
Yeah. So you talk about like assembling your team, right?
Yeah.
Which I love that idea. How do you, now running a business, like how do you manage your own boundaries, and how do you look after yourself? Obviously you're doing something that you love now, so it's different, but just so that you don't like fall into those sort of that same feeling of being exhausted. And
yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think things like burnout and getting tired of work, even if you run your own business, it happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's always going to happen. For me, the constant has always been having that team.
Yeah.
So I'm terrible at going to the gym myself, so I throw money at the situation, which is to go, someone tell me to come to the gym, and then someone tell me to come to therapy appointment. It's kind of having that level of support for me, which it goes down to things like, this is going to sound super bougie, but I promise it's not. But my hair's really thick and it's really stressful to wash and dry. The whole process would take about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it would always cause me a lot of anxiety. And then one day my husband was like, why don't you get someone to do it? And then I was like, really? And then I found these 2 Korean women near Wynyard who they're no longer there, but they just changed. There was $40 and every week I just get a blow dry. Now I still do that, which is sounds excessive, but you cut back on something else. And it was just the amount of stress that I was holding just about getting my hair done to look presentable for the week. I think it's just when you run your own business, you got to remove some of that BS kind of anxiety and then be really focused on the priorities for today and that sort of thing, and the team.
Yeah. Vollardian is all about helping other businesses and helping to build healthy businesses. How, as a founder, especially in the early days, how did you need to apply these practices to kind of build your own business, or how did that kind of work when you're helping others, but you also need to grow your own business?
Oh, it's such a good question. Because we always say we're the cleaner with the dirty house. So we're out there and we get really immersed in the team get really immersed in the clients. We become pretty obsessive with them. And then, there are these moments where you have these realizations of, hey, I think we probably could be doing things a bit easier for ourselves. And so I reckon we were really client and outward focused for the first quite a few years. You're just trying to build a baseline for the business and a name, and which is a perennial thing that you're kind of always building. But our job is to teach people how to sell and sell more and have that rigor. And as an example, we weren't doing it ourselves. Things like that, what we have now implemented is I have a target of, doing a bit of outreach. I have to do outreach every single day, which I think any B2B salesperson would relate to. The team all have targets related to just creating new deals in the business, just literally stuff we tell our clients.
Yeah.
We inverted that in. And that's just been amazing for our business. But again, it's just, why did we not do this sooner? And it is, I think, consulting and services, you're just so not focused on yourself. You have to give yourself those moments to go, okay, actually, let's focus on our business for a little bit.
Yeah. How do you manage growing a team and growing a business, and then obviously helping other businesses, growing your own, but then where do you find time to look after yourself, or how do you do that? And also you also have children, is that correct?
Yes, I've got a almost 3-year-old. Yeah, it's I think a tightly controlled calendar is probably pretty key, but for us the team are amazing. I think when it comes to executing client work, I don't really yes, I'm getting involved and they're helping. I don't want to be that person who wins the work and swans out. That's not it. But the team are amazing. And I think for me, making sure that that's always pretty high priority, after my daughter, and they're probably also my children, I guess is the way to think about it. So then a lot of my work time is focused on growing the business. But then for me, it's really important to show to the team that when you leave at 5:30, you don't work, or if you're on holiday, you're not answering email, because I think it's a top-down thing that you have to project as a leader that it's not okay to be on emails or working on your time off.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty I respond to stuff, but I'm not that responsive, to be really frank, when after hours and unless it's a really critical deadline. But the thing is, all deadlines are movable anyway. So anyway,
That's true.
that means that after work or before work, it's kind of time that I can go gym, play with my daughter, which often involves just, at the moment it's a cash register and constant like bang, 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 and which is fun. But
I loved that toy as a kid. So my mum bought me one, and I told her that my dream job was a counter. And I think my mum was like, "What did I do?" She was like, "You just like your dream job is to like work at would you work at Woolworths?"
cashier.
Just
Yeah,
like-
well, exactly.
So I think part of her was like, "Let's get you a new toy."
Well,
But yes, that brought back memories.
no, that's a favorite. And someone got her this like a hairdryer.
Oh
A
yeah,
fake, like a toy hairdryer. So now constantly it's like, "Mummy, can I do your hair?" Which is actually very nice for me because I just sit there and I can not do anything, and she's just like playing with my hair. It's like,
cute.
yeah, back to the like very much from a boundary perspective. I think I approach it from what do I want to reflect in terms of behaviour to the team, and it's like if you go home, there's not really a need to be on. You need to make time for exercise.
Yeah.
And coming back to the calendar thing, all of this is in my diary. So I've got blocks for my psychology, my gym, like absolutely everything is in there. Probably too much information, but it's that transparency thing because for me, I just want the team to feel comfortable that they can do those things as well during work hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that your priorities, I mean, Vollardian founded in 2017, so it's a established kind of thing now. But over the years, like, do you find that when you first started, when Vollardian was in its early days and you didn't have your daughter yet, do you find that your priorities have shifted from the early days to now, and kind of how has that changed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think because it's like 8 years and sometimes, there's this COVID block that you're like, but over the 8 years, like when I met my co-founder, he was single and I'm going to call him out and say he was a party guy. Like that's what I knew him as. And today he's married with 2 kids living in Perth and he's bought a house. Like some people who knew him from those days are like, what?
Yeah.
So the thing is like as a business owner, like your life is going to evolve over time and your team's lives are going to absolutely, like we've gone from just, us two pretty flexible, can kind of make things work, or if there's an event after, to now there's a bit more negotiation around, okay, we had an event last night, so my daughter came along because there was just no other option. So, yeah, absolutely. Like, and I'd say Bo had his first, and then we were trying for a kid for quite a while, and I just almost think sometimes you just get so in the zone with wanting to do that. I almost felt like I still feel like I neglected the business throughout that trying to conceive period. But now it's funny because now all the 3 kids between us are now kind of a bit older, or like the youngest one's 2, which is not. But you just feel, okay, I've done that. Now we're business go. Like this is back to business, baby. Yeah. So it's funny because you definitely shift your focus. Yeah. And you can't help it. Yeah. But your business is also your baby. So you know you have to keep feeding it, but maybe it's not treated as well during some life moments.
Do you find that having a co-founder has helped you navigate those different periods in your life because there's 2 of you as opposed to just you taking that burden?
Yeah, I think that shared burden is like really, really important. I'd say I always say he's the brother I never wanted. Because that's kind of our relationship. We kind of very, robust, but like we really want the same thing. We both, I think personally also want some sort of like better world or do better for our kids now as well, which is probably not something that was there when we started it. But yeah, I think there are like that, it's a weird one because when you transition into like you go from like I just have to keep myself alive to now maybe parenting and that sort of thing. There was this disconnect between us because at one point he had kids and I didn't, and I don't think I quite understood what he was going through and he didn't understand what I was going through. So we always have this cycle of just constant communication and openness. But yeah, co-founders, absolutely. The more you argue and openly talking about things, the better. Yeah.
It kind of going a little bit back because I didn't get to ask you before, and I really want to talk about it.
Yep.
The blog that you started.
Yes.
While
gainfully employed.
Yeah. So I was looking at it before. I love that it's like still available. I don't know. Is it a thing that you promote, or you just kind of?
Nah.
All right. So we won't say the website. You did have this blog that you started while you were working and while you were, not enjoying your job, to talk about work. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and why you decided to start it? And was it a secret too? Or did people know? Tell me.
No. So I started it when I was in investment banking. So at the very start of my career, I just started seeing a lot of bullshit. And I wanted. I don't know. When you're a junior, you just feel like you are so impotent at calling out some of this stuff, especially around little things like your manager not giving you changes until 6 p.m. So you really have to work really late. Just silly inefficiencies. Anyway, so I started anonymously and was really scared of being found out. So I would just send it to my, little close knit of friends. I don't know why. I think I enjoy writing, but just needed to get it out. And then I went to eBay and continued. And then I actually came out of the woodwork and started probably around the time of that whole promotion discussion that went awry, and was just stuff this, I'm going to be out there. So I actually started writing about corporate jargon, management speak, and would reference people at eBay, which was, again, probably a bit silly and a bit petty, but I think it was an outlet. And in that period of gainful unemployment, I even thought I could be a comedy writer.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why not? Wrote a few comedy sketches for a law review and I was trying anything. But it was funny because as soon as I started Vollardian, I just lost all the creative juice for it.
Yeah.
And you realise, my psychologist pointed out to me that, maybe you were just literally penting up all this anger, not letting it out on the people who were annoying you, and just going blah onto the screen. But I did some silly. Well, actually, I don't regret it. We did a secret Kris Kringle, and my director, who was interesting, I made a King Joffrey mug, but changed King Joffrey's face to his face. Yeah. So he really wasn't happy with the idea of being such a dictator. Probably potentially angling to be fired as well.
Yeah.
Which is not a happy place to be if you're trying.
That's so funny. Oh, I know. I love that. I love just the whole concept. It's very columnist.
That Chloe, I don't know her surname, but I follow her on TikTok. She was working at, I think, Gresham investment banking, and then she
Chloe Barandinsky, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's great. She's the
great.
Same sort of thing, right?
Exactly. So, and I love that she's actually out there. She doesn't show where she works, but I think it's doing it more live and in the moment is way better than anonymously.
And she did quit as well.
Exactly. And I think it just gives a better insight to exactly what's going on and what the expectations of you are. So I think that sort of content piece has totally evolved. So I don't think I'd ever find myself at the moment doing TikTok videos about how much I do not like King Joffrey, but I should probably stop talking about King Joffrey.
That's all right. Well, I guess that's kind of a good segue into my next question, because I want to ask you more about the future.
Yep.
And I guess you sort of had this experience in your early career, and you had this outlet, and now you've running your own business for the last 8 years.
Yes.
And everything seems to be good on paper. But I'm, how is your business currently structured, and where do you see Vollardian in the next few years?
So at the moment, I think we've really 'cause services business, you're just really a function of the number of people that you've got and the number of good people.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we've got an awesome, awesome team, but it's small. So we need to definitely expand that. And part of our mission is to always be finding those amazing people. We always talk about the Vollardian Skynet, which is, you know, like Will worked for Vollardian back in the day and now has come full circle. So we want to always be connecting people, but we want good people, good operators in the network. And so that could be our clients, but also in our team. So we need to continue to scale that. But then that focus on being the, Australia's best sales operations team, I think we do a lot more than that. So I think defining like a new practice area or that sort of thing is on the horizon. Most definitely, like I think, the scaling a services business is incredibly hard, but we're pretty determined now to just actually get the name out there. I think that's the big thing that we're kind of starting to realise, because we're coming up against some of the bigger consulting firms for larger enterprise, and it's like, oh, who are these guys? And I think we owe it to ourselves to, like, we do really good works. We need to get that message out there. Probably not through a trolling blog that I used to write, but we do.
Yeah. So I guess being a service-based business, and you, like you said, you're very like, it's all about really the people that you have working for you.
Yep.
How do you find like these people, or like what do kind of like qualities in your staff do you look for when hiring?
Yeah. I mean, we've been so lucky. So in terms of what we hire for, we've always said two things: grit and intelligence. So I don't really look at CVs as much anymore. Like, I just want to talk to someone and get the vibe immediately. What we do is not rocket science. I can teach you all the bits.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that curiosity and that grit to learn, then that's a bit harder. And so our team is, we've had so many people come through from just amazing diverse backgrounds. So for us, diversity extends beyond gender and like the traditional diversity. Like, we look for level of education. So we want people who haven't gone to uni. We want people who are kind of completely pivoting careers, that sort of thing. So we've had some really great career journeys through Vollardian, I think. And for us, how we find those people is you like posting on all the traditional mediums, but then making time to interview as many people as possible, because you need to get that cultural vibe first and foremost. And I think the hardest thing has been actually keeping them, because they're really in demand, and we're super proud of them, because like one of our, again, being kind of that anti-management consulting way, for us, we're never going to stop anyone from leaving. Like, that's not the way. We've had clients actually, I think the word is poach, but but super proud. Like, it's amazing because, this person was in corporate, was always going to work in that environment, went through a redundancy, came and worked with us, and then is now at a small business, but just absolutely transformational to that business. So I don't think he would have made that pivot. So there's quite a number of stories like that, which, Will's definitely one of them, I hope. But it's we want to be part of all of their journeys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I love that. Well, I have just a few more questions for you. Sure. We're kind of coming to the end, but what kind of advice would you give to someone who is thinking about starting a business, or maybe they're unhappy in their job and they're thinking about leaving? They might not know what's next, but what kind of advice would you have for that person?
I'd definitely say just whoever is on your LinkedIn or just ask them for a coffee advice. Seek as many opinions and just help as possible, because some amazing roles are by referral, and that kind of unseen layer, which we don't necessarily like, but I do think, especially if you're unhappy at work and wondering about the next step, there are really good organizations out there
Yeah.
and that are corporate,
Yeah.
that have great cultures that really do care about their people. So just really, if you can, whilst you're employed, meet as many people, hit me up. Like it doesn't very, very keen to always connect people, because it always I pay it forward. Like it always comes back for us in new business, but for other people in jobs and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great advice too. And what kind of advice do you have for founders when it comes to setting boundaries and maintaining or protecting their mental health?
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially like whether you have a co-founder or not, you have to make time for yourself. So that means it could be going for a walk where you just think about, if you just want to think about the business, it could be making time for exercise, but those should be absolutely sacred things in your, like I obviously use a calendar, but whatever mechanism that you're using. And I think it's like realizing that the standards you set for yourself around boundaries are the standards you're setting for your team.
Yeah.
So if you're happy to be on until 12 a.m., which I know a lot of founders take pride in doing, I think it's that kind of like founder bro culture.
Hustle culture.
Yeah. Which I don't think it's effective.
Yeah.
Again, no prospect is actually answering an email at 11 p.m., right? Like it's just
It's performative.
Yeah, exactly. It is very performative. And there is a lot of performative behavior in the startup scene generally. But I think it's just really important to realize that you, as the leader of the business, you're setting the standard and the culture for the rest of your team. And someone said this to me the other day, the fish rots from the head. But, like literally if you start to see poor performance or any sort of thing, it often starts with you.
Yeah.
And that's not as in you're not doing enough. It's more you're not setting clear targets for yourself or boundaries for yourself. It's often that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a really great note to end on.
I think fish rots from the head.
Well, it's important, like in anything in your life, to look after yourself before you can also like fill your cup right before you try and fill others. Yep. So just on a final note, where can our listeners find you or work with Vollardian?
Yes, you can reach us through our website.
Yeah.
So www.vollardian.com. Probably could change our name and get a lot more leads through our website, or hit me up on LinkedIn. I am always on there. I've actually put a limit on my phone use of LinkedIn because I realised it was also a negative part. But LinkedIn for sure.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Arani for joining us on today's episode of the Anti-Work podcast. And thank you for tuning in. This show is produced by Centennial World Podcast Network. We'll be back next week with more conversations on work, play, and everything in between.